Hi guys, so today we are going to be solving proportions. This is something that you did do in 6th grade, so hopefully this is just a refresher. And in order to solve proportions, as you can see here, we have the p divided by 6 ratio equals the 10 divided by 3 ratio. So in order to solve for this p, there are multiple ways to do it, and you might see a way right now and be able to tell me what p is, but I'm going to show you a way using cross products. So cross means diagonally, and products means to multiply. A lot of you guys already know this method, but you confuse it with other methods. So what this means is you're going to take the two numbers that are diagonal from each other, like I just circled here, and you're going to multiply them. So 3 times p is 3p. Then you're going to multiply the other diagonal, 6 times 10, which is 60. You're going to set them equal to each other, and now you should see that we have a one-step equation. In order to get that variable by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 3. And we now get p is equal to 20. And that is your answer. That tells you what that missing variable is and what makes these two ratios equivalent to each other. So I'm going to do one more example. The next one has actually, I want you to pause the video right now, and I want you to try these examples. I will model the work for you. So you can check your answer. So pause the video before you do the work. Okay, so welcome back. Now we are going to go on to some word problems. When you are doing word problems, you must create your word ratio first, plug in the values, and then solve for the missing variable. So it says, I know it's cut off a little bit, if 3 binders of the same size take up 4 inches of space on the shelf, how much space will be needed for 26 of these binders? So what are we comparing? What are we talking about? We're talking about binders over inches, the amount of space they take up. So the first one tells us that 3 binders take up 4 inches of space. Okay, so we have 3 over 4. How much space will be needed for 26 of these binders? So if I have 26 binders, does that go in my numerator with the binders or in my denominator with the inches? Hopefully you are saying binders. Therefore, I don't know how much space would be in inches, therefore that is my missing variable, or my x. Now I set up this proportion, and I'm going to use the cross products just like I used in the last two examples. And I get 3x equals 104, divide by 3, x equals, so 34, and it says 0.6666666 repeating, but since we're talking about a measurement, we're going to round to the 10th place, excuse me. So 34.7, and this is a word problem, we need a label, and that would be inches. So 34.7 inches. I have one more I'm going to do with you, and then you will be off to work on your own. So a certain shade of paint is made by mixing 5 parts blue paint with 2 parts white paint. To get the correct shade, how many quarts of white paint should be mixed with 8.5 quarts of blue paint? So clearly we are making a shade of blue using blue and white, but we want to get just the right shade. So what are we comparing? We're comparing blue to white parts, blue parts to white parts. So we know that to make the right color, we need 5 parts blue to 2 parts white. But we need a bigger jar than that. So we know that we are going to use 8.5 quarts of blue paint. So the 8.5 is obviously going to go with the blue. Now we need to know, well, what part needs to be in the white? And that's our missing information. So we're going to put our variable there. And I know in our last 2 examples that the x has always been in the second ratio in the denominator, but that does not always have to be the case. It can be in other places, so don't automatically get into a groove of just putting that denominator down there, or that variable, excuse me, down in the denominator. So now I get 5x equals 17. Divide by 5. And I get x equals 3.4. 3.4 what? Go back to the question. How many quarts of white? So 3.4 quarts of white paint. Okay, so that is all for now. Use this video as a tool to help you with the word problems that you are going to do, and as models, also for your homework. Work hard.